It's Wednesday, everybody, and I want to talk about prayer. So, prayer is something that should be a part of all of our lives. And I think there are times when I underestimate the importance of prayer. So, I had an experience last Friday. So I'll bore you the gory details, but I was making a pot of soup. We had our grandsons here and they were staying with us. So I'm sitting there chopping onion and I'm chopping celery, walking around the kitchen barefoot. What an idiot. Okay, spoiler alert. It has something to do with the story. But I dropped the cleaver on my foot. And it didn't turn out very well, okay? You know, the force of gravity and all of that. I mean, it slipped out of my hand, it hit my foot, and obviously did some damage on my foot. And so I reacted, I called out for help. My son was here, my husband was working, so my son was the one who came to my aid. We were trying to keep the grandsons away. Anyway, I was able to get something to stop the bleeding a little bit, but it was bleeding pretty hard. And I held on to my foot and was kind of stuck. My son tried, I said, Matt, forget it. It needs to be held on to pretty tightly. I said, I'll take care of it. And as I was squeezing my foot, I prayed. And I prayed to Mary. I said a Hail Mary, and I asked for Mary's intercession. I was afraid, frankly. It was serious looking enough. Eventually, like I said, I was able to get the blood to slow and stop, or at least to begin to coagulate enough that I could put on a tourniquet and think about going to urgent care, which eventually I did. But in that moment, as I was squeezing my foot, I closed my eyes and I asked for Mary's help. And I said a Hail Mary and invited Mary's intercession on my behalf. I asked for the strength to kind of go through it, because I know that in the middle of all of it, that I was kind of not completely on my own, but for a variety of reasons, my husband couldn't help, and my son, as best he was trying, but part of it was just, it was an awkward situation. Anyway, in all of it, that moment of prayer allowed me to calm down, to trust that I wasn't by myself, to find within me, through the grace of the Holy Spirit, the strength that I needed to pull together not only myself, but to get situated in such a way that I could deal with the emergency. Thanks be to God for God. In the grand scheme of things don't always turn out that way. But I think how much of it is because we don't ask, that we don't take a moment to turn ourselves and our situation over to God, over to Mary's intercession, over to the Holy Spirit to inspire and to help and to fortify us in the midst of calamity. Thanks be to God for prayer, for a mother who answers those prayers, who looks over us. And I imagine all the angels and saints and everybody that we rely on in that, what would you call it, the communion of saints, intercede and are just waiting for us to ask for their help, their intercession, their assistance. So thanks be to God for all that our faith can provide to us in even the most difficult moments. Here I am a week later almost, with stitches on my foot and kind of moving in the direction of actually thinking about having those removed. I actually have to wait one more week. It was deep enough that they wanted me to wait 2 weeks before getting them removed. But thanks be to God for all that we're given in our faith to get through even difficult moments. Aim for the weekend. Like I said, it's Labor Day. When did that happen? Summer's over. Anyway, see you at Mass. Thanks be to God.